everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome to another installment of Sketch Sundays. This week's sketch is going to be the My Favorite Things card challenge for this week. It's sketch number 212 and this is the sketch. I will put a link to it below in the more information if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this over on my blog, it will be listed in the bottom of this blog post. So this is the sketch, and keeping with the theme that I did for last week's guest blog over on Crafty Not Shifty's WordPress site, I went through a lot of my stash and I found so many things that I haven't used before. So a lot of the stuff that I have is going to be stuff that I've never used, or I just used 1 or 2 stamps on the stamp set. So for the actual, for the sentiment on the inside, I used this birthday from the My Favorite Things LLD Delicious Birthday. So that's part of it. And I used the jumbo squiggle border for the stuff that was down at the bottom, like a little bottom scallop. So I used this, which I've never used before. I used to decorate what I'm putting on the front of the card, I used the My Favorite Things LLD Journal It playlist. I used this stamp right down here. So if you are probably older than 25, 30 years old, you probably know what's going on the front of this. If not, you may not really know. You might be able to guess. I used the My Favorite Things CS57 Merry Messages and this Wishing You, part of the sentiment. I used the My Favorite Things LLD Accent It cassette tape. This is the steel dies, and this is one of them, and then there's a little piece that goes over top of it, which you will see. I cut them out of 2 different cardstocks. So that's what's going on the front. I used part of one of the sentiments in the LLD Be Original, which is also from My Favorite Things. It says you are and, so we're using the and from there. Oh, I'm sorry, and then also we used the Epic from this stamp, the Journal It playlist, this Epic stamp right here. I used that for the sentiment. So we are also going to be using some Hero Arts Pale Tomato ink. There is some cardstock, which I don't know the name of it. I will get the name of it for you, and I will put this in the more information below on YouTube, and it will also be listed in the supplies on my blog. But we're using this for the inside and the outside. And we're also using some vellum. So let's get started. So the first thing that I did was I cut out these 2 pieces from the cassette die that you saw. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to take the stamp set that it's like the label that would go on the tapes. So I want to ink that up with some of this pale tomato. So all you do is, I have this Fisker stamp press, and you just line it up, the lines on here. And I've done a practice ink on this, on a scrap piece of paper, and the first time didn't stamp so well. This is the first time I'm using this stamp, and when you use these clear stamps, it's a really good idea before you stamp it onto your project to make sure that you stamp it onto something that, to a scratch piece of paper. So it's going to go like this. I just wanted to make sure that I had this the correct way, and then we are going to line it up. Now it looks like it's a little bit bigger than the piece of white cardstock that I have, so I'm just going to line it up as best I can, and then I'm going to press down because the bottom is pretty much all solid. There's just a little bit of words at the bottom. I want to make sure that I get everything down, and I know that I'm a little bit off camera. I'm sorry. I'll come back on as soon as I'm done with this. So I'm hoping to get a nice impression. Now the Hero Art Shadow inks, they will stamp a little bit splotchy, but after they dry, they will be solid. So here's that. And if you guys were around in the 80s, you'll notice this is pretty much what the tapes looked like that we had to label, or that you put these little labels on the cassettes that we would use. So, and I think these actually might be the colors of some of the cassettes that we used. So to go behind it, I actually took a piece of vellum just so that it has something, because it's going to be going on that happy birthday piece, and I just wanted to give it a little bit of something in the background, but I didn't want to make it a huge deal. I didn't want to put gray behind it, because this will pick up some of the red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Zig 2-way glue pen, and I'm going to just run the glue pen around some of the edges and the openings so that it will stick. Now the good part about this is we're gluing this vellum right to the piece of paper, so you don't have to worry about the glue showing through the vellum. When you glue anything down onto vellum, you usually can see it, so I just want to make sure. I'm actually going to go and cut off the extra vellum. I have just a little bit. You're probably not really even going to see it, but I know it's there. So let's get as close to the black piece of cardstock as I possibly can and just cut off this little extra piece of vellum that's down at the bottom. Okay, and so since this, I'm going to actually glue this as well. Oops. Some strings hanging around. Same thing, I'm just going to use my Zig 2-way glue pen and glue this to the front of the cassette tape. Oops, sorry. Keep forgetting about not being in frame. Okay. So here's your cassette tape. Isn't that so cool? I think it looks a lot like the cassettes that we used to have. So if you guys can see the marks on the back, you can see the glue, but obviously that's not going to be a big deal because that's going to be put onto the front of the card. So the next thing I did was I cut a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock down the middle at 5.5, and then I folded it so it's a 4.25 by 5.5 card, and this card is going to be going this way. So I cut the piece of cardstock to 4 by 5.25. So then I took a longer piece of vellum and ran that steel die, the one that I was showing you guys, the bubble one, this steel die. I ran that through the Cuttlebug with the vellum, and then just put it at the very bottom to just give it that scallop, because in the design there was a little bit of scallop at the bottom. So like I showed you guys before, you can't really put glue on here, so it's just a teeny tiny bit longer than the width of the card. So I folded it over, and I'm actually just going to glue the pieces that are going to be wrapped around. I'm going to glue them down, and then once I glue that to the front of the card, it's going to pretty much stay in place. So there's the front piece, and then I'm going to take this cassette and I'm going to glue it down. Now I saw that there was a ribbon on the front of this. It looks like there's on the sketch, looks like there was a ribbon going across it, but with the music lines, I'm going to use that as the part of the ribbon for my sketch. So I don't actually have to have a piece of ribbon or the line that was going across, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use my Zig 2-way again to put some glue on the back of the vellum. And I am going to put it, I'm not going to center it, I'm going to put it right here. Because in the design, the image was more to the left side. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm just going to, I would use my ATG gun, but right now the tape that I have in my ATG gun is not, it's not sticking to the side of the spool, and it's just not working very well right now. So I'm just going to use my Zig 2-way glue pen. I'm going to and just scribble it on the front. And then I'm going to open the card up, and I'm going to position it with a border on all 4 sides. Hopefully it's an even border, or as even as I can get it on all 4 sides. Okay. And then there's the front of my card. So for the inside, we are going to, I cut this down to the same size. This is 4 1/4 by, 4 by 5 1/4. And then this is 3 by, or I think it's 3 by 4. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'll have to look the size for you guys. Alright, now I want to do the sentiment. So, wishing you has little dots on both ends of it, so I'm just going to take some washi tape and cover up the dot after I, oops, it's not, I'm going to take this old stamp off of here. I'm going to, the nice thing about this Fiskars stamp press is that it has the lines on it, so you can line the stamps up pretty easily on here. So you can get them kind of straight. Alright, so then I'm going to put washi tape over the 2 little dots on both ends of the sentiment. And I'm going to ink it up with some pale tomato ink, the same ink that we used on the front of the card. Okay, I'm going to take that off. So now I have the sentiment without the little dots. So I'm going to put it kind of in the center. I'm just pressing gently on it. You don't want to press too hard because then you'll spread the ink out too much. Wishing you. So there's the first part of the sentiment. So it's going to say wishing you an epic birthday. So I'm going to take the epic, and actually I practiced stamping this out just once because one, I hadn't stamped most of these, so I wanted to stamp them. So I think and is going to go on an angle, and then epic, and then birthday is going to go. Birthday is pretty much the same length as the wishing you. So I'm going to stamp the epic first because it's wider than the and. So we're going to stamp it right about there. An epic. So we're going to do the same thing with the and, because this sentiment is you are an. So we're going to mask off the first part of the sentiment and the star at the end of the sentiment. You can see that. There you go. So just the an. And then make sure you remove the washi tape because the washi tape is going to have ink on it and you don't want that. So I'm going to stamp, I'm trying to decide if I want to stamp, I think I'll stamp an the proper way, not sideways. And then we're just going to, birthday is the last thing that we have to do. I'm just going to wipe some of this excess ink off, and then I'm going to line up, oops, the birthday on here. Ink it up. Just a little piece of paper on there. This pale tomato is actually becoming one of my favorite colors. I actually really like it. I wasn't sure. It's like a, to me it almost reminds me of like a watermelon color almost. It's like a pinkish red. Okay, and I'm trying to center it the best that I can, and then stamp down the birthday. Okay, and then there's the custom sentiment, wishing you an epic birthday. So that's one of the really cool things that you can do with all of these stamps, is create your own sentiment, because I didn't see, the sentiment wasn't anywhere, but I wanted to do something that was a little bit different and that was with the theme of the cassette tape. So I didn't see anything other than "It's Your Birthday" in the stamp set that went with the die that we used. So I just went through all my stamp sets and had that in mind, and just kind of picked and chose the words that would help me fulfill that sentiment. So I'm going to line this up and put it in the center the best that I can. Wishing you an epic birthday, and then gonna run some the zigzag, open up the inside, and again center it the best that I can. And the card is done. So this is the card for the My Favorite Things card challenge for this week. I think it's really cool. It's very retro. Wishing you an epic birthday. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and let me know if you did. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any comments or questions about any of the supplies that I used or any of the techniques, feel free to leave them below or private message me. And if you're not a subscriber, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!